can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I actually muted myself during the entire part. And it was so good. It was such a good part. I was done with the preparations. I spent multiple hours editing videos, training my characters next to birds, because birds respawn quicker than dragons. Okay? The birds actually gave me a lot more XP than the dragons would ever give in the shortest amount of time, because I just needed to spin around the room a bit. In that one corner that I show at the bottom right screen. I think I even explained that during the video, which you can't even hear, so I need to make that somehow out of memories. Anyways, that corner over there is really good for grinding, since the birds have a shorter distance from the wall, which in turn means they have a shorter respawn rate than in any other corridor. Okay, so it seems like afterwards I went over the skills. I didn't really change anything on Ray. She pretty much had all the skills that she always had. Double strike, spear mastery, and all the good stuff. The only thing that I changed around here was that I gave her Bloody Fortune to increase the odds of getting Headbind on the boss. Because Headbind, in combination with Athur, is just literally broken. Now I'm not really sure what I else just said. Something about probably not having that many chances to attack, since yeah, my whole party is focused around the fact that Athur is going to do his thing. Same goes to Raguna. She pretty much has all the skills that she always had. Speed, vaccine, HP, delay heal in case Simon has any type of problem, and Holy Gift in order to get more XP during the grind. Holy Gift was really helpful, since it is a passive skill that always activates itself. And with the rare birds, that boosted them up to almost max HP, which was really precious. Even with max XP, it still takes around 2 birds for 1 level up. It was incredible. Oh, and by the way, she's pretty much all about guarding. Firewall, Unguard, Provoke, Aegis, all the good stuff you could possibly need in order to tank that guy. Now at this point I wasn't really sure if she's able to handle that, since it is a super boss and all. But she's doing fine, believe me, she's doing just fine. Same goes to Simon. Simon is pretty much the same as before. The only difference is that I gave him action boost in order to help out with the seal head. And in worst case of scenarios, I gave him Ice Torrent to do some extra damage. Now Ice Torrent wasn't really necessary since I didn't use it even once. But it is always good to have another ace in the hole, right? It's always good to have another ace option in case the worst case of scenarios are going to happen. I'm not really sure how long I talked about that with Simon, but I guess I talked about it for a longer time. Probably in combination with Ray, since Ray is Bloody Fortune is really important for Simon as well, to boost up the seal head rating. Since I wasn't really able to get a better head snipe skill, only level 7, that was the highest one that I had. And it still worked out fine, just saying, it worked out fine. It was at a very decent rate. So are we going to go over Athur next? Yes. Now I didn't really change much with Athur. The only thing that I changed was giving, or rather gave up on Ice Torrent for first, or rather boost up. It is a Grimoire that we were able to find in the treasure chest along the way, from a Whip Grimoire, which I didn't use even once, but I thought, since I'm going to use Ricky for a very specific purpose in this fight, it would be helpful to have boost up on Athur in order to increase the chances of me getting the next boost during the second wave of attacks. It's really important, I need him to hit as much as possible after all. I want to make it as close to the story mode as possible. Which means, yeah, I gave her the action boost, combined with lower agility to make her slower than Athur. And then I prepared a lot of Excellas, since I know action boost also works on items. Which means in those 3 turns that Ricky has in between those fights, because she isn't going to go for the headbind this time around. She is going full support on Athur, providing him with the items that he needs in order to go all out. Even if it isn't enough, it should get him close enough to get the boost going during the second wave of attack. And yes, it works. Those 3 Axilla for the second wave of attack really did the job that they needed to do. But we will see that very soon. I had a really, really lucky attempt, the first try that I ever fought that guy. Even though I was a little bit confused about the fact that he's not around. I'm literally talking into the wall in order to get another fight.
Elemental attack.
Which was kind of weird.
Got that, everyone?
Like really weird. But hey, one good thing. We still have the description of the core itself, since technically speaking we already defeated that guy during the story modus. Which in turn means we still need a conditional drop, and he's weak to all kinds of elements. Great, right? Absolutely great. Also, we can steal Armageddon, activate, and something about another attack. But we're not going to bother about those skills. But then again, I think it's really, really nice. I can literally refight that fight as many times as I want to, which means I can get those Grimoire stones rather easy if I actually were to go for them. Now, for the first turn, I completely forgot that this is a free turn, so I went for Fire Wall. Prepared all the preparations that I need. Boosted Illusion, boosted Force Barrier, boosted Force Breach, Bloody Fortune, just to get Simon on the roll already. I completely forgot about the first wave of instant death.
You're going down.
Which didn't even trigger. Which was really lucky. Like really, really lucky. Usually it always gets one of them, right? At least one of them. But oh well. After that, we went for Action Boost on Simon, since I needed to get the headbind ready. Of course, since we had to use Bloody Offer during the second, or rather the first turn, we need to do that now, combined with Analysis. And I think I was already getting ready for the Axle boost for Ricky.
All fired up.
And here's the thing, now I was unsure. I needed to get Raguna into the backline, since I want her to go for Bravery Gift. Bravery Gift works on either line, so I thought maybe by being in the backline, it reduces the overall damage that she's going to receive. Which in turn means there's a higher chance she might be able to pull that off twice, which I would really appreciate. So now here was the gamble. If I didn't hit the seal head, this would have been bad. Really bad. And I almost forgot what I wanted to do with Ricky. I had to make sure that I actually went for seal head. I also needed to go for a sealed head with her. But no, everything's fine. Everything's works as planned. I can go for the item. And pray to God. Actually, I wanted it to be ready this turn. I really wanted it to be ready during this turn. I really had the hopes up that those 3 exit boosts are going to be enough to get it to full. But it's not quite enough. Not even with boost up. It's not quite enough. It boosted it up by a lot, I can say you that, it boosted it up by a lot, but not quite enough to actually go all out during the first turn. Which might have been a good thing, since you remember the story fight when he was able to recover? Yeah, he can still do that. But still, 50% in the ghetto? That's good. So, Fire Turret is on the way. Wolf Pact is on the way as well. Wasn't really sure what I'm going to do with her. But I think I wanted to keep the Force Breach. Barrier can be applied again. But I needed to reduce his attack for Raguna. Now as you can see, yeah, the damage is really close to the story mode damage thanks to the power of Fire Torrent. The breath attack from the dragons are really, really strong. Combined with Set Heal, Wolf Pact, Bloody Offer and all the buffs that we could possibly hope for. That was the best thing that I could have done during that turn. Now, here's the funny thing. We need to get ready. We need to get ready. Our second hit is going to come up soon. And at this point I was praying really hard that the headbind is going to stay a little bit longer. And I wasn't really sure if the boost is going to be ready next turn either. I was kind of thinking about going for barrier again. Just to lower the... that hurts. That hurts. 94 heal? How could you do this to me? You were half done. But then again, we're just going to hit you for even more, huh? That's the best solution at this point. Bravery gift again, just to make sure that everyone stays alive. Boosted fire torrent to hit you for even more than before. And I'm still not sure what I'm doing with Ricky. I know that I wanted to do something special, but I'm pretty sure what Ricky's supposed to do. I mean, we do a lot of damage. That's literally story mode damage right here, right now, doing the final phase of the fight. Woo. At this point I was like, screw it, go all out. Full speed, full damage. Actually, I need to go to the front line. Never mind. Spear assist, full damage, was it? Yeah. Then of course speed. Then of course fire torrent, because it doesn't really have a lot more. And then, the one time Ricky actually attacks, for once, in the entire playthrough, with an actual strong attack. Stats. Just like that.
I look forward to the appraisal.
It almost felt like a story mode fight again. Just because of fire torrent and the might and the luck of everything falling into place. Exactly how I wanted it to be. I was a little bit in disbelief how quickly that fight ended, since the last time I had a super boss around here, in 5, it took me 2 days. It took me 2 days to figure out what I'm supposed to do. Then I needed to change my party a bit in order to do enough damage. So I wasn't really sure why that fight was suddenly so quick. So of course, in my disbelief, I went along and tried to fight this fight again. This time around I tried to be a little bit more calm about it. Instead of going for fire torrent, I wanted to see how much damage the normal fire formula is going to do. I think I wanted to do that, but it didn't really go as planned. At this point I realized, yeah, I was really lucky doing the first attempt. Like really. I was really lucky doing the first attempt. It's incredible. Right. You will see very soon why that is. But let's wait for this turn to end. Let's see.
Let's boost it.
This is pretty much the same as before. It's literally the formation that I always go for the first turn of every fight. But here comes the first problem.
Now.
He got my Simon. I always say, if Simon falls, everything falls apart. Nothing works anymore. I need to get the hitbind or else Arthur isn't able to do the damage. And I don't want Ricky to go for headbind because Simon is supposed to go for headbind. And now without Bloody Fortune, that's going to be really problematic. Now I wanted to go for Bloody Fortune again and let her revive him, but then I remembered, oh no wait, I'm fast. I'm too fast. She won't be able to handle that. I need to revive him myself, which makes the whole timing that I showed you guys during the first attempt completely obsolete. Because nothing is going to work anymore. Okay? All the timings are off. All the cooldowns and durations aren't going to add up anymore. Just because one guy died. If it was Ricky, that would have been no problem. None at all. I mean, sure,
there it goes.
After a second wave of attack wouldn't have to boost anymore. But at the very least, boost would have still had a fighting chance. But I still didn't give up. I still tried my best. I tried out how much damage I could do. And how much damage Gunnar would take in the front line. It was still decent. Still. I already had a feeling it's not going to go so well anymore. It's really crazy how everything changes if you make one single mistake, right? But hey, even without Bloody Fortune, thanks to the power of Action Boost and the whole might of Simon, he's still going to pull off the headbutt. At the very least, he's still able to pull that off.
Come at me.
Only problem is, without Wolf Pact, Athur isn't really able to do a lot of damage. And actually, at this point, because I was so messed up with my formation and plan, I used the wrong skill. I wanted to go for Fire Formula, and I noticed it at this point as well. That I messed it up. But hey, we still have another turn of attacks, as long as the hitbind is going to stay, right? At least that was what I was hoping for. Like, really? I was literally hoping for that. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that attempt wasn't really that pretty. But hey, that was just a try attempt, right? Technically speaking, we already defeated that guy. That is just playing around, since I didn't want to end the part in, like, 10 minutes. That would have been anticlimactic, especially for a super boss like him. Not really sure why he only healed like 10k this turn.
Onward.
Probably because he didn't do as much damage as before. Well, I'm not really sure what I was going for during this round of attacks. Attack with Simon, Wolf Pact, Action Boost. Maybe he's going to go for ailments. I'm not sure. Anything can happen this time around. I knew for a fact that I need to use Bravery Gift for Laguna again, because I'm pretty sure he's not going to go for an elements attack this turn around. And of course, need to get the boost ready.
I'll protect you all.
There we go. Now, without the headbind, everything is screwed up. Everything is screwed up. Oh man. I mean, at this point I was like, ah, screw it. Let's see how much damage that would do. With boost, fire formula, without a headbind. Maybe it still does decent damage. But of course not. A headbind is very, very important in this fight. Like really. It is really important. Ah, shoot. And neckbind is even worse. That's the first time I ever missed an attack. I didn't even get him to half. I didn't even get him to half. Ah, yeah. Yeah, at this point I was like, ah, okay. You know what? I have the feeling this might not end well. Yeah, it didn't end up well. I was actually confused why he used fire again. After all, he used fire first, then he went for ice, and then he's supposed to go for electric. But because he didn't got a chance to use the ice attack, I guess he skipped over electric and restarted the cycle? Something like that? Wasn't really sure. But, yeah, as you can see afterwards, after Arthur's accomplishment during this whole playthrough, I have decided to do something that I usually never do during the end of my playthrough. And that is to actually provide the QR code of Athur. Burn them all, Athur cards. The full might of Athur for everyone to receive. Not really sure how it's going to be carried along, since the Grimoire stones that I got from my guild cards weren't really that great. But maybe you guys have better luck with this King Arthur kind of card, huh? Yeah, I believe the Arthur of this one is going to grant all the Arthurs in all the other games the power to beat that thing. Like in story mode. I really love that guy in this playthrough. He did such a good job. I think at one point, I guess the developer thought that we, as a main character, are going to do the most damage around here. And maybe Ricky as the second main character. But no! No! Screw those two! It's all about Athur! It has always been all about Athur, right? Oh, by the way, I checked the guild card. I was a bit surprised about those two little holes in the center of the guild card, but I guess it's related to the story models. And maybe those 7 King Grimoires. But we don't really need them, right?
Fare thee well.
Now, since the game didn't really provide me with any types of credits afterwards, I have decided to go back into the title screen, checking out my background musics, getting the one track that you all guys seem to like from Mike, since we only had one chance to ever experience that music. And yeah, I was a bit worried about the fact that maybe I need to manually repeat that over and over again, but no, don't worry about that. It is on auto repeat. Unless of course you press A to pause it or swap the music in general with left or right. It's just going to repeat itself without any trouble. Now, at this point, if I remember right, I was talking about the game itself. Not about the story, because I already said everything that I needed to everything that I needed about the story during the first time we saw the credits. So, yeah, I think I was talking about the Grimoire system and the 6th stratum in general. Now, first and foremost about the Grimoires. During the main story part of this game, the Grimoires are a little bit obsolete. It's nice to have them around, but you don't really have to have them, you know? They are really helpful to have, since they're going to make the fights a little bit shorter. But if you are lacking on a few of them, it doesn't really hurt you that much. It's still possible to fight against all of those bosses without trouble, even without them. Which in turn means, even though the Grimoires are so linked together, which makes them pretty impractical in order to customize them for all their characters, since you literally need to break them apart if you want to change one skill to another person, which is really bad, especially if you have a good Grimoire, and you just want to have that one skill in the center on another character because your character doesn't need it. You never use it. At one point you thought, oh sure, that skill is useful, maybe I should give it to her. But no, you need to give it to him. You know? That is something they solved in Etrian Odyssey 2 by making them one stone at a time so that you can freely swap them around characters without trouble. But we don't really have that in this game. So we need to play around that as well. And in general, I think during this whole game, there were like only 3 Grimoire stones that I really, really wanted to have for myself. That was Force Breach, that one skill that lowers defenses, that I wasn't really able to get during this whole playthrough until the post-game, when I was actually trying to go there for that with items and all. Charge, which I was lucky to get from Deathstalkers on the 4th stratum. And one buff skill from the Worm, the Red Dragon. He had one attack buff for itself that boosts both physical and magical attack. And since Athur still had one slot open for anything else, I thought it would be good to have that on him. Turns out it's quite impossible to get it, because I never, ever get anything but torrent skills from those dragons. Every Grimoire that I get from them is a torrent skill. 7, 10, 8, 9 torrents, judgment, more torrents. It was crazy. At one point I was like, ah, screw that. I don't need the dragon skills. I already have the fire breaths. What else could I possibly need? Athur's strong enough as a all. He is King Athur after all, you know? And hey, after the first attempt, it's pretty clear, yeah? He doesn't need that extra buff. All he needs is the support of all the party members. Like a true king. Right? Like a true king being supported by his knights. The Round Table. All for one. The 4 musketeers, you know? Anyways. So at that point, I wasn't really bothered about the Grimoire system at all. I had my fun with it, even though it was a bit annoying at times. Especially since I wanted to get Shield Mastery for Raguna, and the only Shield Mastery that I ever found in this whole playthrough was level 4. Wasn't really that good, but well, I lived with that. And Raguna was pretty fine during the boss fight, right? She didn't really came close to dying at all. Probably because I gave her the axe. Funny, right? I saved that sword Grimoire stone for Simon, so that he's able to get the sword during the end of the fight. Or right at the last half of the game. But no! I gave Raguna the sword in order to wield the Golem's axe that we got very, very early of the game. And that little guy was able to replace the tiger sword that we got even earlier from the game. That Raguna carried until the post game of this whole playthrough. Since she never needs to attack at all. She didn't need to attack at all. She's a true protector at heart, right? Through and through. Now, let me think about it. I talked about the Grimoires. Then next should be the 6th stratum in general. Okay. So, how should I do this? First and foremost, I didn't think that the 6th stratum was that bad. Even on expert, it wasn't really that bad. The gimmicks and riddles that they presented to us were manageable. I mean, look at it. 26 was pretty much a turtle race with a turtle. all the battles need to be fought in one turn. That isn't so bad, once you're strong enough and know the tricks about the monsters. The teleporter riddle was a bit annoying, but as long as you keep up your number system, it's doable. Without too many backtrackings. Now 27 and 28, we can almost look at those two as one. After all, they are pretty much connected to each other. 27 is all about staying in the dark, because in the dark it's much easier to navigate that place. You don't need to worry about the birds at all, and yeah, they're pretty much asleep. As long as you watch your ground, you will never fall into a hole. Unless, of course, you want to fall on purpose to meet that Blizzard King guy on 28. Or, as me, trying to see if there's a treasure and then suddenly get surprised by a giant boss being placed in your face. Anyways, yeah. 28, in general, is just a giant punishing room in case you misstep, which means as long as you don't make a mistake on 27, you don't really need to travel through that place. Unless, of course, you want to get the floor jump ability, then I would recommend preparing a lot of guard soil, because the damage from those damage tiles add up rather quickly on this floor. And the depth dancers aren't going to make it easier for you, since you need to step around them multiple times since they continuously spawn every few steps. I mean, the birds aren't so bad. At one point you are really getting used to their movements, but still, the damage tiles, they're going to add up quite a lot. So in that regard, once you need to go for 27 and 28 again in order to get the floor jump ability, it could end up a bit annoying. I give you that. That quest, or that part of the stratum was a bit annoying. But 29 in general wasn't even so bad. I mean, look at it. It is a giant map, mirrored map. The teleporters go pretty much wherever they want to. The teleporter count was a bit ridiculous with 28, I think, or was it 27? Not really sure anymore. But in general, the FOEs were nice. I mean, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. As long as you stay 4 tiles away, we're not going to have a bat. I don't know. I think I wrote a little rhyme about that in one of the descriptions. But I don't really remember it anymore. It's been too long. But I really had fun with those guys. Especially, I had to cut a few things away. Since every time I traveled through one teleporter, and they sent me back to an old teleporter location, I have to backtrack again to that old spot again in order to check out the other teleporters. And I didn't really want to let you guys see all of those backtrackings over and over and over again just because of one misstep. And let me say, once you travel past those alligator thingies multiple times, you kind of jam with them. I mean, they were literally booping around in their beats, right? 3 steps forward, 1 step back. Almost like a march song. I had a lot of fun with those guys. Anyways, except of the riddle part of 29, I didn't really find that floor to be so bad. The encounter rates around it though were a bit tough, especially the end encounters, which were literally everywhere. And if they go for Earthquake, my back row was dead. Literally. And if by any chance they spawn with a butterfly, I'm even worse than that. The only way to recover from that is going for speed and sleep pollen, and if Simon by any chance isn't able to land his sleep or headbind on both of them, I'm screwed. Or if Kupala at the end, in the worst case of scenarios, my party is almost dead. Kupala comes out, goes for a sleep ice attack, and by any chance possible, it's not going to land. I'm also dead. Kupala's ability is a double-edged sword, especially in combination with Simon's sleep pollen. Since Simon is able to put them to sleep, but Kupala can also wake them up. But I don't want to give up on Kupala because Kupala saved me way too often to let it go. So it's a kind of like a high risk, great reward kind of situation here. It is it is risky to have her around, but I wouldn't want to go without her, you know? Anyways, and yeah, 29. That was pretty much 29. 30, I can't really say much about it. I mean, I pretty much grinded on that place for multiple hours. And thanks to story modus, I didn't even have to go through that whole follower. It's more like a suggestion at this point, since we were already through there. We already beat the main boss. You don't have to go through it again, right? So yeah, that was kind of nice of the game. I mean, it gave me a very big grinding area for us to travel through. It also led to another dragon fight and a little room, which granted us 2 accessories that were very, very helpful for both my character and Raguna. I think that accessory was needed for her to reach 999 HP as well, combined with Rose's tea. So in that regard, it was really, really helpful. But that was pretty much it for the 6th stratum, right? Yeah, I went pretty much through all those floors. Didn't really encounter any kinds of encounter which was literally impossible to beat, but maybe I was just lucky about that. But I can safely say, Stalker over there is really helpful. I can only recommend that. It was the first time I ever had to beat a fight or beat an AO game without Stalker as an ability that I could use multiple times during the playthrough, and let me tell you, having the option to deactivate encounter rates around here is really, really helpful. Especially if the only alternative option that I had was items that only blocked for like 30 steps, and in all 30 steps isn't really a lot. That's like 1 corridor at most. One of those longer corridor at most, and then you need to reapply that item over and over again, and that was kind of annoying. So if there's one thing I would have changed, give me a Stalker. Give me a Survivalist. I don't need a Gunner. Give me the action boost, change it to Survivalist, and I'm happy. Literally. I'm happy about that. Anyways. So, and that would be pretty much it. That was all the points that I wanted to point out. That was pretty much all the points that I think that I was talking about during this scene. Which means, all that's left for me to say is, I hope you guys had fun with this playthrough. And I see you guys again during the next playthrough. Since the following up games are going to be a little bit interesting, since we're going to play a few games that I haven't played so far already. It's a genre that I haven't really played so far on this channel. Already starting with Heartstop, the visual novel, in an RPG maker kind of scenario. So be prepared for that. After all, I'm still waiting for Idesomnia file, which is going to be released in less than a month. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to play little games, just so that there isn't really an infight on my channel about which series is going to become the main series. I don't really want to decide between 2 games and then be like, I really love both of them, what am I gonna do? I can't have both of them as main series. That would be too much. I don't have that many hours during the weekend. That would break me in pieces. Especially since I need to work on 7th Dragon. I have so many pictures I need to draw for 7th Dragon. Oh yeah. But I guess that's my problem, right? I have to figure that out somehow. Oh well. Anyways, I hope you guys had fun. And see you in the next part. Or maybe the next playthrough. Until then, bye bye!